Call the meeting to order.
Notice of this meeting is given to all board members and associates in a meeting notice dated October 4th, 2023. Furthermore, on that date, a copy of such notice was sent to the Times, the Trentonian, and the Clerk, the Township of Hamilton. It was also posted on the bulletin board at the entrance to the boardroom in the Hamilton Square Administrative Building. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll.
Salute.
Dr. Ferrara. Here. Mr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Ms. Harvey. Here. Mr. Kanka.
Here.
Dr. McSheen.
Here.
Soto. Here. Byrne.
Here.
Mr. Salantano.
Here.
Ms. Thornton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
Whereas NJSA 10:4-13 requires adoption of the board to go into executive session, be it resolved that the board pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, New Jersey, Title 18A, and the Hamilton Township Board of Education bylaw number 0166, hereby enter executive session to discuss a matter involving other matters, student matters, labor matters, human resource matters, and matters falling under attorney-client privilege. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this executive session shall be made public following formal action by the board and or at the conclusion of any investigation, due process proceeding, or litigation, so long as not prohibited by law, and so long as the need for maintaining confidentiality no longer exists.
Meeting back to order, if I can, please.
Good evening, everyone. We have a treat to open up tonight's meeting. We had a start who opened up for foreigner recently, and so I'm going to ask you all a question and be very honest. Before you opened for foreigner and found out that you were going to do this, how many of you knew who foreigner was? I officially feel I'd like to turn it over to you and looking forward to the performance.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to Steiner. My name is Madeline Curtin. I'm the choir director here. These are Spartans. I'm going to let them kick it off first. Our two songs today are holiday songs because we do prepare our winter concert music first. So that's what we have for you. So hopefully you're in the holiday mood here in the middle of October. Yeah, so we'll let them kick it off. Yeah.
Oh. The song, but a happy sound. There's a song. Oh, thank you for you.
I remember when you were here. And I was when we had last year. Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about the Spartones for a second. So when I got here 5 years ago in 2019, there was no a cappella group. It's something that I did in college at TCNJ. It was a big part of my life. So when I came here, I decided we should have one too. So other than obviously singing our winter concert and all of these students being in choir as well, the big thing that they do is they compete in the ICHSA, which is the International Championship of High School A Cappella, where they compete against a cappella groups from all over New Jersey, PA, Maryland. It's an international competition all across the country and also the UK. If you've ever seen Pitch Perfect, it is exactly like that because Pitch Perfect is based off of this real life competition. And also, if you notice, a cappella music is really dependent on microphones and speakers. Otherwise, you would not get that awesome bass sound. I'm really thankful for winning that foreigner competition. It was hosted by 102.7 The Boss. They're the ones who we won this big speaker here from that competition, and we would not get that wonderful sound because there are no other speakers. So we wouldn't have that wonderful sound if we didn't have that speaker. And also Donors Choose for everyone that supported us, again, like 4 or 5 years ago when I did this Donors Choose to get these microphones. Normally, I do have more, they're just in the closet, but usually every single member is holding a microphone. And that's just how it's done in the a cappella world. When they compete, every single member holds a microphone so they can move and dance around while they sing. And here it's not so necessary at the moment. But they do choreography and the microphones are very important. So I'm very glad that we have those now as well to support this group. Yeah, all right, they're gonna sing one more song for you. It is All I Want for Christmas Is You. Here we go. On earth for Christmas, there's just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own. No, I wish for Christmas. You. Yeah. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There's just one thing I need, and I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I don't need to hang my stocking there upon the fireplace. That's what will make me happy with the thought of Christmas Day. I just want you for my own, more than
never know, make my wish. And one for Christmas. Oh, no. Christmas. I just want you for my own. Never know. For Christmas. Is
Maybe October. Good job, everybody. Absolutely phenomenal. Now I know why you were chosen and also how great you did when you were on stage and on it. Let's have another round of.
Did this get back here? How are you? What's your agenda there?
Yeah, my agenda was there.
What'd you do with it? She just.
Oh, okay. Should just join this. I'll learn how to do it.
Hello, ladies.
Okay.
This is skills that I've always liked. Oh, it'd be really cool. Because I know it can be. Sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're okay. You're okay.
Sorry.
I'm back.
Candy cane.
I just want to give everyone a few minutes to get settled.
Thank you, guys.
If we can get started, we'll start with the superintendent's report.
That is a hard act to follow. So fantastic. We have a couple of things going on. We're going to have some recognition in a couple of minutes beyond our Steiner Acapella group. But before I get to my superintendent's report, I walked around this way after we came out of executive session. And so the Spartones were warming up. But then in the shop, we've got our robotics team that's over there training and building and designing and getting ready for the competition season. And so for our community, and I know a lot of our parents who have high school students know this, our kids are involved in a lot of stuff. There are a lot of great things that happen in our schools every day. Our kids are competing. They are working together. They are trying new things. The high schools are open 6 days a week, and kids are here early in the morning and late at night. And it's very exciting to see at all of our schools. Yesterday, we were at West for a meeting, which Dr. McSheen will talk about in a couple of minutes. But we were watching kids coming in and out of the building from whether it was practice for sports or the marching band or some type of activity. And it's always exciting to see. So with no further ado, I'll get to my superintendent's report. I have some congratulations and our student reps. I hope I'm not stealing any of this. I apologize if I am, but please just repeat it also. West's marching band placed first in WPST's favorite marching band online competition, and they placed third in a competition earlier this month in North Brunswick. Nottingham's band placed second at a recent band competition. Congratulations to Madison Littman of Nottingham Field Hockey, who is a freshman playing varsity goalie. She's already accumulated 200 saves this season, and you can go on NJ.com and vote for Madison as one of the star freshmen playing varsity. I think they're having a competition for that. Let's show some HDSD pride, just like we did with West's marching band. I'd like to congratulate Amber DeWitt of Steinert for her service project to benefit at the animal shelter, and she was collecting food and supplies for the animal shelter. Congratulations to Emily Hardiman of Steinert for being recognized for her work as a soccer goalie on the girls varsity team, and congratulations to Sam Bethlin of Nottingham for being recognized for his work as a running back on the varsity football team. And finally, in the congratulations when it comes to students, congratulations to Bella Celentano of Hamilton High School West's girls soccer team for being recognized for her 300th save. And actually, as of the article being posted, she has 372 saves. That is awesome. I'd like to also congratulate the students and staff of the Gladiator Cafe. And I know a few of us were there last Friday. So the Gladiator Cafe is opened again. Best cup of coffee you are going to get in the school and around the area. And they do have lots of other good things. I'm not saying that I had a donut or I didn't have a donut, but if I had a donut, it was delicious. But I won't admit it. A couple of things coming up. Some events that we have right now happening at Nottingham is Share the Keys event. This is for families and students who are going to be new drivers, so they understand the graduated driver's license. At Hamilton, at Steinert, you're going to have the Halloween event happening on the 27th. That's for all ages. There is a soccer night at Wilson coming up on the 27th at 4 p.m. for Wilson students, staff, and families. And then we are going to have a day of drones on December 2nd at Steiner High School right here, starting at 10 a.m. and everybody is welcome. Talk about a little bit about tutoring, because I always talk about student achievement and how we continue to work to improve student learning in our district. We're pleased to announce that we'll be launching our elementary in-class tutoring program on Monday, October 23rd. We're working with an outside tutoring company that has hired tutors to work with our students in math and English language arts, and they will provide our students support that is targeted instruction in their classrooms in small groups. We also have additional tutoring that we will do this year through federal ESSER funds, and that is on the agenda tonight for your approval. You will see that that we are approving additional tutoring in our schools, K through 12. We provide that before school, after school. Some of our high schools call that like an Empower Hour, but our staff will do that tutoring, and you will see their names on the agenda. Some calendar reminders. October 31st, obviously, is Halloween, and schools will be doing their Halloween parades. It is a one-session day for elementary schools. It also is a day for parent-teacher conferences. The next 3 days, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, are one-session days at the elementary level. Again, that is for parent-teacher conferences. And I strongly recommend to all of our elementary parents, please set up a parent-teacher conference. Talk about your child's progress. Talk about academics. Find out where their strengths are. Find out where they're struggling. See what other things you can do in addition to support the work that's being done in the classroom. It's a very important opportunity to make that parent-teacher connection. Additionally, for calendar, we have a professional development day on November 7th. That is election day. That is an in-service day. All students are off, all staff, we are in, and we have a lot of great professional development scheduled for that day through our various departments. November 9th and 10th, school will be closed for Teachers Convention. Our November Board of Education meeting is Monday, November 20th. That meeting will be at Sunnybray starting at 5:30. November 22nd will be a one-session day for all students. And November 23rd and 24th, we are closed for Thanksgiving break. Once we get into November, as we all know, November is a very broken up month. On the issue of PSATs, last week we administered the PSATs to 9th graders, and today we administered PSATs to 10th, 11th, and select 12th grade students. This year, the College Board developed a digital format for our district, and this means that approximately 3,000 students took the online assessment. PSAT is another successful tool to assess student learning, provide students with pre-SAT experience, possibly qualify to be a National Merit Scholar, and provide access to advanced placement courses when we do our potential AP meetings. And we want to thank the Board of Education, because every year the Board of Education provides the opportunity for us to budget for the cost of the PSATs so that our students and families do not need to pay for that. Want to remind our community that our Special Education Parent Advisory Group, or CPAG, had a very successful year last year. They had a number of meetings. They have scheduled meetings for this year. The first meeting is October 30th. Then there's a meeting on December 5th, February 27th, April 23rd, and May 13th. May 13th will be their whole child fair. There is a lot of information on our website for meeting dates, meeting locations. Our district calendar committee met yesterday for the first time this year. We met several times last year. The committee of stakeholders representing our district will have a 24-25 school calendar for Board of Education consideration in January of 2024. We typically approve a calendar for the following year in January or February. Our district community relations met yesterday. Dr. McSheen will report out on that in a few minutes. Our facility strategic planning committee, since last year, there have been a number of volunteers that have been part of that meeting, and they met many times last year. We met the other night. We heard from our demographer, the board. You have that presentation on board docs, and you will be getting the full report within the next day or so. Every member of this community is invited to participate in our facility strategic planning committee. You don't have to have been there from the start. You can come in now. You can come to February's meeting. February's meeting. Come to November's meeting, November 13th, 6 p.m. at West. We also are doing something that we instituted last year called Difference Makers. Last year, we started this Difference Maker campaign out of my office that recognizes faculty, staff, students, administrators, and the community for making a difference in our district. Last year, we recognized 100 people. The campaign kicked off at the start of October, and we have already recognized 25 people. These individuals make a difference in our district and are positive examples of this year's theme of Everyday Counts. Those recognized receive a letter a certificate, a difference maker sticker, and a thank you card from me. And finally, over the last 6+ years, there have been many ways our school community and specifically our families can participate in our district and have input on what will occur. In the past, this has included our referendum committee and strategic planning committee. In the past and currently, that includes participating in our PTAs and district events. Additionally, currently and in the future, this includes our school calendar committee, facility strategic planning committee, CPAG committee, and DCR committee. Those opportunities have been mentioned in my report at these meetings for years. I've also included them in my community updates that go out at a minimum of 8 to 10 times a year. There are many opportunities for us to work together and collaborate. The amount of time an individual wishes to do so is up to them. But I want our community to know that they are and will always be welcome to participate in any or all of these opportunities. Let's continue to work together, keep a positive mindset, and make every day count in our school district. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rocco. At this time, do any Board of Education members have any comments? Ms. Harvey?
You know, you mentioned the Steiner Halloween event, but I believe Hamilton High West also has on the same night, I think it's actually at the same time, a haunted Halloween event as well.
They do have one. I was not able to confirm the actual date, and I'm not sure. Is it? Yeah, is it in your report?
Yeah.
She's got it.
Okay. Sorry.
I didn't want to steal all their thunder either, so I'm glad you have it.
Any other board members? Okay, I actually do have a couple comments. So I was able to attend the grand opening of the Gladiator Cafe. It was a wonderful event, and I know that everyone will be very excited to get all of their yummy treats in the morning because everything was delicious. So it's a wonderful program. We're very happy to have that and for our students to be able to participate. I also do want to mention that as the school year started, we do have a transition program through student services for some of our students. And I want to thank all of the local businesses and the businesses in the area for their continued partnership. We have quite a few students that are benefiting from working within the town. And I just want to thank them very much for the continued partnership. And I look forward to continuing that for the benefit of all of our students. So thank you very much for that. And that is all that I have. So we will move on to our student representatives. From Hamilton East, Steiner, Ms. Simpson.
Good evening, everyone. I hope we are all doing well. My name is Melissa Simpson, and I will be speaking on behalf of Steiner. This month, October and September, has been a very busy month for Steiner. We started off with our back to school night on the 28th of September. Steiner families were able to see what a day-to-day schedule looks like for a student, as well as see the space that Steiner has created for our clubs, see what our clubs are about and how their students can join. We also had our homecoming dance on the 30th of September, and 750 students showed out. The atmosphere was lively, spectacular, all of the above. And we also had our homecoming game where students showed their spirit and support for our football team and also presented HCSD pride. Our boys and girls soccer team have been playing phenomenally to the point where they have even advanced to the semifinals in the Mercer County tournament. So congrats to them. Steiner celebrated our week of respect with daily respect activities throughout the week. And not only did these activities educate students on what respect is, but it also encouraged and showed them on ways how to incorporate respect into our day-to-day schooling. We also recognized and celebrated National Hispanic Heritage Month. And there were students from the Hispanic community who would come on the live speaker and basically share a piece of their culture and heritage as a whole. And they would also put us on to some recommendations of Hispanic music, food. And I don't know about you guys, but I love me some Hispanic music. So I was excited to hear what the new piece was that I could be dancing to. Our Steiner Marching Unit Band and choir also participated in the band competition known as Music in Motion, and that was in October 7th. For the following days, we will be having our Fall Cabaret on October 25th, followed by our National Honor Society induction on October 26th. On October 27th, Steiner will be hosting a high school Halloween event, our Trick and Treat for elementary students, where they will be able to visit classrooms personally decorated by students and basically trick or treat. So it'll be an awesome experience for the Halloween festivities. Sorry. Thank you. That is all for now.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. And now from Hamilton North, Nottingham, Miss Brick.
Good evening. I would like to bring your attention to the achievements and upcoming events within our school district that describe the spirited community we are proud to represent. Firstly, our sports teams are doing well this season, and fall sports are coming to a conclusion at the end of this month. We are happy to report that our boys soccer team celebrated a victory on their senior day, and our football team secured a win against Ewing with one more game left. The tennis team also triumphed against Trenton, while our girls soccer team has demonstrated their skills with wins against West Windsor, Plainsboro North, Trenton, and Manville. In addition, we are incredibly proud of the freshman goalie, Madison Lipman, who has displayed skill and dedication to the program by achieving 200 saves in field hockey. These accomplishments reflect the hard work of our student athletes. In the spirit of celebrations, we are eagerly anticipating our homecoming festivities scheduled for October 21st. On this exciting day, not only will we witness the homecoming dance and football game, but also take the time to honor our senior football players, cheerleaders, and band members. In a delightful turn of events, our school recently enjoyed a day of fun and laughter with the wacky races that were held yesterday. Many students happily participated in making the event a resounding success. In addition, we are currently in the midst of our Spirit Week, which has been bringing our student body together in a celebration of our school spirit. Community engagement is a crucial aspect of our school, and we are proud to announce that volunteering events have already begun, with plans to continue throughout the remainder of the year. Halloween night is approaching on Thursday, October 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. We are delighted to invite all elementary schools within our district to join us in the Nottingham cafeteria for a festive evening. On the academic front, our school clubs are thriving. We have witnessed the commencement of several clubs, including the environmental, French, yearbook, and debate clubs. The debate club in particular has already achieved success, winning against Steiner and Notre Dame. In terms of new developments, our school is excited to announce the creation of a volleyball club, which is off to a great start. This addition to our extracurricular activities is yet another example of our commitment to offering diverse opportunities for our students. In conclusion, our school is lively, active, and filled with talented and committed students who continue to achieve success in both academics and extracurricular activities. We are thrilled about the upcoming events and look forward to your ongoing support as we strive for excellence. Thank you for your time and support.
Thank you, Ms. Brick. And now for Hamilton West, Ms. Ajay.
Good evening, members of the board, students, family, and friends. Hamilton High School West has successfully completed its first month of school, and there have been many events that have occurred. For example, a new club has been added to the endless list of extracurriculars at West. The Women's United Club was founded recently, and it had its first official meeting last Thursday. For sports, the football team and cross country have all continued a great season. The soccer team and field hockey team have continued to dominate their opponents, and the tennis team has had a great season as well. They will actually be having their senior day tomorrow. In regards to sports, the girls soccer team hosted a car wash 2 weeks ago to raise awareness for breast cancer and give money towards that cause. They also had a pink out just last week. And on the subject of extracurriculars, Hamilton High West Band won the first place for band at WPST Fan Favorite Competition. And in recent news, the PSATs were successfully taken by 10th, 11th, and select seniors today. And as of today, tutoring for all subjects is now available at West. In regards to academics, our gallery class at Hamilton High School got an amazing visitor. Thank you, Mayor Martin, for visiting Mr. Iorio's gallery class. For upcoming news, our haunted house will be on October 27th from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. and is hosted by the student government. On November 4th, Hamilton High West is hosting the SATs on Saturday. And last but not least, I want to give a big congratulations to everyone who attended the Rotary Club of Hamilton Student of the Month breakfast. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ajay. It's always wonderful to hear from our student representatives of all the great things that are going on in our schools. So I want to say thank you again for being here, representing your schools and your school community. So thank you. At this time, we'll move to awards and presentations. We do have, as we have already had the Spartones, we want to thank them again for an amazing presentation and performance. So let's have another round of applause for them. Thank you. We have very talented students here in Hamilton. So next, I'd like to move to recognition for our teachers for the 4th year induction program.
Mr. Scotto?
Mr. Scott.
Thank you and good evening, Dr. Rocco, Mrs. Thornton, members of the board, senior staff, and public. I'm here this evening to recognize staff that have completed and they're our first graduating class of our 4-year new teacher induction program. Just to give you folks a little history, through the collaboration of the Board of Education, Central Office Administration, and the Hamilton Township Education Association, we successfully launched our 4-year new teacher induction program in the last 4 years. Our new hires, whether they are new to the profession or new to the district, are enrolled in a 4-year program. In the first year of their program, they participate in a series of what we call a la carte workshops and additional tools and strategies to be successful in the classroom. And then at the end of year 1, we ask them to think about an area that they're passionate about. Often we call it a passion project. And I'm proud to say that 47 new hires last year presented their findings and how they've grown. Not everyone could be here this evening, but we do have a few staff that were able to find time in their busy schedule to be here. So when I call their name up, I'm going to ask them to come up. They're going to receive a certificate from Dr. Rocco and Mrs. Thornton. And I'm also going to let you know a little bit about their passion project. And no two passion projects are the same. And I think that that is really a commitment to what we want to do to help our new staff grow and be successful with our students and within our school community. They had an opportunity to present their findings to a trusted colleague that they invited to be there to hear a little bit about their learning, and any other staff member that could be there to give feedback and reflect on their learning. So 3 of those folks are here this evening. The first person that I'd like to call up is Ashley Chiaramonte. Ashley is a 2nd grade teacher at Robinson Elementary School, and the theme of her topic was implementing technology in the elementary classroom. Let's give her a nice round of applause. Good job. The next person was up here only a few minutes ago, and we didn't really even plan it this way, but Madeline Curtin, who had the Spartones up here presenting for all of us and entertaining us, was also part of that group. And her theme was classroom management and choral rehearsal techniques in the high school classroom. And boy, that really pay off. So congratulations, Madeline. Madeline is a teacher here at High School East. The next person that I'd like to recognize is Robert Farina. Rob is currently a science teacher at High School West, and the theme of his passion project was cultural responsive teaching in the high school science classroom. Congratulations. So I'm just going to hand it over to Dr. Rocco, but I really wanted to say that these 3 folks are just a representation of the hard work of our new hires who would come every month and interact with me and attend and sign in and be there and juggle the schedule and participate and give feedback to one another. And I feel that I also grew with all of you in these last 4 years. So congratulations. We are very proud of you. And I know Dr. Rocco would like to say a few words.
Yeah, so a few things. Number one, understand that these folks did a lot of this during the pandemic and had to do this online. So it was a struggle for them. When we first meet, I tell all of our new teachers, your success in this district, 50% of it is our responsibility and 50% of it is their responsibility. And these passion projects are part of that 50%. And they've done a wonderful job. And I just want to thank you for your dedication to our students, our school district, the schools you work in, the departments you're in. And not only are they done with the induction program after 4 years, but also, according to the state of New Jersey, they are tenured staff members. So congratulations on that. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Okay, before we move on to committee reports, I just want to say we do have our students here. You are more than welcome to head home if you have work to do and stuff like that. So just want to let you know. Okay, and thank you again for joining us. So we'll move to board committee reports. We can start with finance and operation, Mr. Kanka.
Thank you. The Finance and Operation Committee met on October 4th at 8:30 in the morning. I would like to thank committee members who participated and all senior staff that was there. We first started out with Dr. Rocco's communications report. He gave us a communications update with the community. He shared a community update memo with the board last week. He reviewed and approved a request for a staff member to conduct a doctoral research. He also spoke at the Hamilton Robbinsville Rotary, and the Rotary has adopted Wilson School and donated some supplies to that school. Then we moved on into our initiative items for the summer of 2024. Our biggest challenge for those projects are the high school auditoriums. It's a multi-year project for upgrades in all three buildings. There's going to be some lighting, sound system upgrades to each and every facility. There's going to be the scope of work that has to be done will depend on which school has the biggest need at this time. And it's just it's a work in progress at this time. And like I said, it's going to be a multi-year project for all three facilities. Then we moved into the Perkins Civil Rights ADA follow-up. There's some projects planned for 24-25. There's the inside ramp at the West Cafe cafeteria. There's also some accessible lab stations and library circulation desks, auditorium stage lifts and amplification, and accessible water fountains on the floors of these facilities. Then we moved into ROD grant projects. There's the high school roofing projects for all three high schools and the Layler HVAC And this is all based on the final cost and approval letter from the New Jersey DOE. A motion will be added for the BOE to accept this grant at that time. Once the district is awarded the ROD grants, the district will go out to bid on those projects. Other summer projects include the Wilson Modular Classroom, which is included in the current year 22-23 budget. The Crockett Lab conversion project to classrooms, the North Science Wing masonry and window project. There's a new issue that has popped up that we discussed briefly about the boilers at McGalliard School. Apparently the units are well past their life expectancy, and we had problems getting replacement parts for one of the boilers over there. It's a steam system that is those parts are no longer available, and they're looking into other options to maintain the 2 working boilers over there. And we have been converting our steam systems to hot water systems over the years, and this will probably fall into that category once we get the funding for those particular boilers. Another discussion took place on the track, the fields, and the track signage. There's been many comments throughout the community. There's been multiple emails stating when we're going to open the fields up. And I will tell you that the problem, we're having one issue, which is not a major issue with the fields, and that's the completion of the interior fencing around those particular 3 fields. We didn't want to interrupt the fall sports that was going on with the football and whoever's going to be using those fields. So the administration discussed it with the committee, and we were in agreement that the fencing for those particular fields in question are Nottingham and East, is that those fences will be installed at the end of the football season. And then we also discussed signage for those fields for the usage of the track and the field itself. We talked about when the public can use those tracks, and we had come up with a time schedule for those for the usage of those tracks for the public. There was a consensus with the committee and the administration that no outside usage of the track or fields will be available when students are in session at the schools. That does not, we had come up with signage of tentatively right now of in the morning from dawn to 7 a.m. and at night 6 p.m. to dusk for those usages. And you have to remember that in the summer when the school's out of session, unless there's activity by the school on those fields, there will be no public usage of those particular fields. But if there's nothing going on, then the public is free to use those particular fields, or I'm sorry, the tracks. We also discussed field usage. We felt that the fields had to be permitted by any outside entity who wanted to use the fields, but there was a discussion about the cost of the usage of those fields, and we're looking into what is going to be that cost for any other outside entity. So we were looking around. The administration is going to look around to see other districts are doing and how do they accommodate outside entities with their fields as far as charging them and permitting them to use those turf fields. And the other thing, we were made aware by the IT department that those fields are under surveillance with cameras. So just wanted to let the public know that. And we talked about some specific building requests. The committee reviewed a couple of requests and did not support the following specific building use requests. The use of inflatables and, believe it or not, a mechanical bull for a Steiner after prom party. We did not we are not going to approve that. And there was another group that was coming in that wanted to waive the abuse and molestation coverage in their insurance coverage for a program at Grice Middle School. We did not approve. We will not approve that. And there was another travel basketball team that wanted us to waive the $10 an hour fee for practicing at Reynolds. That was also not going to be waived by the district. Then we moved on to I don't know if anybody remembers, but several years, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it may even be further, it may be pre-pandemic. We had a survey done on the 3 pools and in the district west, north, and east. And we are in the middle of getting into a more detailed discussion. We talked about the west pool and the issues that we're having with the pool as far as leakage around the filter scupper, which is where the water goes back to the filtering system. We had talked about the upgrades that had to be made to actually all 3 of the facilities as far as ventilation, lighting, ceiling tile issues and stuff like that. So we're going to be revisiting that again to find out what's more cost effective to the district as far as what pools we need at this time. There was a list of the amount of students that were using that wanted to use the pool at this time. And we're looking at the amount of students versus what the usage of the pools at this time. But we're going to we'll get into more of that as the time goes along, and I will update that with the community. Then we moved on to the Bell Avenue lot where we lease a lot for buses. We currently have a 1-year lease, and we're looking. We need as we increase our number of buses each year that we lease out to try to save money on bus routes, because every year it gets more difficult with the bus company trying to get these routes sent out for these kids. We have been adding buses every year to our fleet, which we are on a lease program with one of the vendors, and we're in dire need for some parking facilities for those buses. So that's going to be another topic of discussion because next year we're hoping to increase that fleet, and we're going to need some place to put these buses. So I will keep you updated on that particular venture that we're attempting to do. And then we moved out of the initiatives portion, and we briefly discussed the committees that are going to be use of school facilities policy 7510. We also discussed transgender policy 5756. We also discussed which Dr. Farrar will get more detail on what was discussed in the committees. I just wanted to let the public know that we did discuss these particular items. We also discussed the cursive writing initiative that the district has taken on now, and I also wanted to send a special thanks out to Director Anthony Scotto for putting up with my phone calls for the last several weeks to try to get this program. It's up and running, but I wanted to make sure that it was up and running 100% throughout the district. And Mr. Scotto has assured me that every school principal has been contacted, and the cursive writing is actually being taught now, starting in the second grade and third grade students. I had questioned about to Mr. Scotto about the students that had maybe slipped through the system without getting the cursive writing classes, and we discussed a couple items on how we can maybe get some programs together for the children that have missed out and want to learn, and maybe you learn something in second or third grade, but I also insisted on reinforcement throughout the school year, all the way up into high school, of some type of a program that the district can put together, where at least we can get the students using it on a regular basis. I know what they do a lot with with the tablets and stuff like that, but I think we should reinforce the cursive writing as they move on through the system, not just give it to them in second or third grade, but to actually use it throughout their career. And I want to thank Mr. Scotto for trying to get this initiative started. And I also would like to thank Dr. Rocco, because he also heard a couple of my phone calls with Mr. Scotto, and thanks for stepping in and getting this whole thing started. And that's basically it. Our next meeting for initiatives is November 8th at 8:30 a.m. And if any of the committee members have anything they would like to add that I may have missed, Mrs. Harvey has something.
I just wanted to, because a member of the public had asked me this as well, the auditorium plan, that would include new seating, correct?
Over multiple years, it's part of. The plan is going to be a multi-year plan, and so pieces of it have to be done each year. Right now, Ms. Atwood and I are engaged in conversations with the architects about what can be done and at what pace and in which schools. But it's about a 3-year process from start to finish. I don't know if there's any additional detail you'd like to provide, Ms. Atwood.
No, but just to answer your question, the intent is yes, is new lighting, new seating, new sound system.
Yeah, they have to take up the floor. They have to take all the seating, because we're going to be replacing the floors too. So if we're putting new floors in, there's no need to put in seating that's 40 years old. And in case at West, it's probably 140 years old. So, but anybody else does any board members have any questions?
Should sell the seats.
Yep. Maybe for firewood.
Those names on.
And that
Any other-
concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kanka. Do we have anything for negotiations?
Still, I did I did have a conversation with Mr. Carrig, and we're ready to go. We're just we're waiting to for a specific time period in October, which has recently just passed, to to get our scattergrams together and stuff like that with the HDEA. So
Okay.
I'll touch base with him. I was gonna touch base tonight, but I can't do that
Okay.
because Mike stole the show. So I'll contact him this week to find out what's going on.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
I'll have
Kanker.
another report for next month.
Thank you, Mr. Kanker. Dr. Farrar, would you like to take us through your Curriculum and Instruction Committee report?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. The CNI committee met on October 11th this month, and all three members were present, as was the board president. And as committee chair, I also met with the Finance and Operations Committee and the Personnel Committee for policy discussions. The most pertinent item coming from the CNI committee for a vote tonight is the second reading of the threat assessment policy, which is motion 7. And this policy comes out of legislation that the governor signed in 2022. And now for some updates, curriculum and policy news, we'll call it. As Mr. Kanka noted, all the district's elementary school principals have confirmed with Mr. Scotto that cursive writing is being introduced at the end of second and developed in practice through third grade. Funds are available for materials. Mr. Scotto is still determining how the district might address the remedial options for families seeking that opportunity. He's talking to several district vendors, and he will keep the committee informed as to what he's found out and what he plans to do. On the policy front, the CNI committee and the Finance and Operations Committee will be working closely on formulating a new building use policy. The current policy is 10 years old. Board members understand that PTAs and booster clubs raise funds which go back to supporting students and teachers. And administrators have been asked to work with parent groups to arrange programs at times when custodial personnel are on site, so organizations won't incur overtime costs when that's possible. The other key piece under discussion is the use of the district facilities by outside organizations, as Mr. Kanka said. This includes gymnasiums, grass fields, and of course our turf fields. And those of you who regularly attended board meetings last year know that this board spent a lot of time discussing and evaluating options for our athletic fields. And in the end, the decision was made to use cork infill on the fields. The administration and board members want to make sure that outside organizations who want to use our facilities will provide adequate compensation for usage, wear and tear, and maintenance. And Mrs. Atwood is going to do all the research and reach out to other districts and see how they are handling these things. Finally, all three committees had the opportunity to examine and discuss policy 5756, which is titled the Transgender Students. I am going to summarize the conversations from the three committee meetings. I first provided a quick history of the policy. HTSD first enacted this policy in September of 2016. The policy passed unanimously on first and second readings. Mr. Celentano was board president. Mr. Kanka, Mrs. Thornton, and I were also board members at the time. On July 21st, 2017, the New Jersey State Legislature passed legislation directing the Department of Education to distribute guidelines to school districts about transgender students. If one looks at the legislation, one can see that items listed in that law are also listed in the policy. Due to that legislation, in November 2018, the district revised its policy. The policy again passed unanimously on first and second readings. Mrs. Lombardo was president at the time, and Mr. Celentano, Mr. Kanka, Mrs. Thornton, and I were on the board. Strauss Esme released an updated policy in 2019. Our district did not adopt that policy, choosing to leave the 2018 policy in place. Hamilton's policy does not list an M for mandated. The policy's text clearly states this policy sets out guidelines for appropriately addressing the needs of transgender students and complying with applicable anti-discrimination laws. The policy also reads, this document does not anticipate every situation that might occur with respect to transgender students, and the needs of each student must be assessed on a case-by-case basis. In all cases, the goal is to ensure the safety, comfort, and healthy development of all students, including transgender students. One board member suggested the policy should direct the district to notify parents of children under 12 who want to change pronouns. That member indicated suggested language would be coming to the
committee to review. I will note the policy reads, the responsibility for determining a student's gender identity rests with the student, or in the case of young students not yet able to advocate for themselves, with the parent or guardian. One member expressed that the policy is not law. However, the policy grew out of two discrimination laws, Title IX, which is a federal law, and the NJLAD, which is the New Jersey law against discrimination. This member also had concerns about bathroom use. The policy clearly states, where available, a single stall, gender-neutral restroom, such as in the health office, may be used by any student who desires increased privacy, regardless of the underlying reason. A school may not question or disregard the student's assertion of his or her gender identity unless school personnel have a credible basis for believing that the student is asserting a particular gender identity for some improper purpose. In those situations, the school administrator shall document those concerns to the student and provide the student an opportunity to present documentation or other information demonstrating the sincerity of their gender identity. It was also noted in one committee that the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association also has a transgender policy, which is referenced in the district policy. Finally, another member observed, the policy ensures that students are safe and have the ability to learn. It's not to make a huge political statement. It's not to take away parental rights. Throughout the whole policy, there are ways to bring parents into the conversation. It's an individual journey. It's not to force a student on a journey. Since there have been no change requests submitted to the committee beyond asking that the words rare and absolutely be removed from the policy, the conversations will continue. As Mrs. Thornton noted last meeting, any suggested changes from board members may be sent to her or they can be sent to me. Mrs. Thornton also made clear that any policy revisions will first go to Mr. Carrick before they come to the board to review and for approval. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farrar. Dr. McSheen, would you like to do a report on the DCR committee?
Sure.
Thank you.
So we had an amazing turnout for our first District Community Relations, DCR Committee meeting of the year last night at Hamilton High West, where we discussed ways in which we can improve our schools. Subcommittees included climate and culture, curriculum and community, suspensions, including restorative practices, and recruitment and retention. Community members, teachers, and administrators made time in their busy schedules to come out and make their voices heard by participating with the DCR. Thank you to Amanda Asquith for leading as the DCR chair, and to our superintendent, Dr. Rocco, for providing a snapshot of where our schools are. With some great positive news from our students and some vital areas of improvement that we could work on. And a very special thank you for all the volunteers who were able to come out last night, especially our community members who are concerned parents and neighbors. For the 23-24 school year, DCR plans to refocus on the HTSD strategic plan developed back in 2019. As board liaison for DCR, my goals for this year are to 1, highlight board action items that originate in DCR, 2, bring important news from our Board of Education public meetings back to DCR, and 3, follow up with our administration where needed. There's always work to do, so please consider signing up on the district website. And you can find that by going to htsdnj.org and look under, I believe it's the community tab, and district community relations should be right under there. To echo Dr. Rocco, this is an amazing opportunity to get involved. If you are passionate about improving our schools and want a space in which you can participate, I truly hope to see you at a meeting. Our next DCR meeting is Tuesday, November 14th at 5 p.m. at Grice Middle School. Definitely consider joining us, and please note that there will not be a December meeting due to the holiday schedule. If you have any questions about DCR, please email dcr@htsdnj.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McSheen. So I will report on Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee met on October 11th, and we discussed various items. As the other two committees, we also discussed Policy 5756 and Policy 7510. We did have communication from Dr. Rocco on various items within the district. And we also did have an update from Mr. Scotto in regards to cursive writing. On personnel items, we did discuss some revised job descriptions that you will see on the agenda for this evening. And we also discussed a Princeton University program in teacher preparation, which you will also see on the agenda for this evening. This is a 3-year partnership for placement of student teachers. And this is a wonderful opportunity, once again, to have student teachers within our school district and work with Princeton University. And we did again have an update on vacant and filled positions throughout the district. I want to thank Dr. Copeland. Every month he does a wonderful job with providing the committee with an up-to-date idea of where we are with staffing, and I thank you very much for that. And at this time, that is all that I have for our personnel committee, unless anyone else from my committee has anything else that they would like to add. I do want to mention, because I often feel like I don't want anyone to think that the personnel committee, my reports are usually on the shorter side. And I just want to kind of explain, whenever we're discussing personnel items, there are a lot of confidential items. It's not that we're not discussing them, but I cannot report them out because of personnel matters. They are confidential. So I just wanted to make that notation. I often look to Mr. Kanka, and he has a very detailed report, as well as Dr. Ferrara. Mine is not as detailed. It's not because I don't want it to be, it's because I do need to adhere to confidentiality. So I just wanted to make that note. And again, if there are any other questions on personnel,
Tina,
Mr. Salantano.
let me say here. This is what bothers me about the way we have our committees, but I'll talk about that another day. So I'm looking at the revised job description. And we do have the descriptions, okay? But if I were there, I would like to know what brought this about. Why do we need a manager? Okay. There is a comment in here that we may have had that position once before. And with regards to the tech department structure, it just says a brief discussion from Dr. Rocco on the structure of the tech department was held. What do we know about that? These are the questions I would like to have answered before I vote on something. I mean, I'm not trying to be a, you know what, but God.
No, that's.
And it's not only your committee, other two committees, we do the same thing, okay? But
And I do appreciate.
this
the
just
question.
happened to catch my eye tonight.
Absolutely, and I do appreciate the question. So we did discuss job descriptions. You will see we do have in HR right now, we do have a vacant position, and we were looking at the organizational chart and how to provide additional resources for the human resource department. Because as you can imagine, it is a department that has a lot of responsibilities. So you will. Yeah. So you will see that from one position, we are actually looking at now 2 positions. And you do have the job description within the personnel agenda. And I'd be happy to answer any questions or have Dr. Copeland answer any questions, or Dr. Rocco in regards to the actual job description. I'm only reporting on what we actually discussed in the personnel committee. I don't know if it's additional conversation to have once we move the item, but I'm happy to have the conversation now as well. And then in regards to the tech department, we're looking at the future. We're looking at what the district needs and where we're going. As we can all imagine, technology, again, is a critical part of our school district. And we just need to make sure we're being proactive instead of reactive. We just need to make sure that we're looking at everything and reviewing it and updating it as necessary.
I don't disagree with that, but with regards to that statement, it's just it was held. Like, I mean, I can come up with a couple of things on top of my head right now. Do we need better servers? Do we need a different type of internet structure? Are we gonna need more employees? That, just a couple of statements like that would have like maybe,
So, and I can say in regards to the technology department, all we discuss in personnel would be personnel items. It wouldn't be the actual, like you said, servers, things like that. So that's more of the technical questions, which is more of the administrative and operational side. We discuss in regards to personnel.
so with regards to the HR manager position, whose duties are being relieved and or
So I can answer that for
Yeah,
you.
we
It's a
discussed.
good question, and I'm glad
please.
you brought it up, Mr. Salantano. So a while back, as you know, the history of that position, a manager had been here for many, many, many years and grown up in the position. And I say grown up in the position as the district expanded, her role and responsibility expanded. And then she had retired a couple of years back and we had replaced her with a manager. And that manager then left to run an HR department in another location. In conversation with the board at one point, there was some conversation and debate about, is it a manager? Is it an assistant? Is it a manager? And we kind of compromised on the role and responsibility, but the department itself, so this is tied in with your question. The department itself has been static in the basic number of employees that it's had as the department has grown, as the district has grown, and the responsibilities in HR have grown, not only from just simply hiring and issuing a contract, but also now all the online stuff with the certification instead of the paperwork that was paper, it's all digital. And to be honest with you, and Dr. Copeland can tell you, every night, sometime between 10 and 1 o'clock in the morning, I get probably 15 or 20 emails from the state about certification that have to go to him, right? Because they send to the superintendent, because it's this constant churn based on when people are hired between their temporary certificates and their permanent certificates and their mentoring and all of that paperwork. So there's a massive extension of responsibility. Plus, non-tenured teachers are now 4 years in a day and not 3 years a day. So that extends another year of additional evaluations and paperwork. So the responsibility has expanded over time, but the number of employees has remained the same. While in other departments, the responsibilities have increased, and then we have, and maybe not to the rate it should have been, but we've caught up a little bit, expanded some of those departments too, to meet the need as we've gone on. Technology being one, because we went from basically staff having devices to everybody having devices. And so we had to quickly begin to expand the human aspect of that to maintain it. So on the HR end, it's really about beginning to address those issues. Also, the assistant, which is the position that exists right now, we're saying that's still going to exist. There will be responsibilities of that individual to do exactly what all the other assistants to the senior staff do, but also have a responsibility within the board agenda, just like all of our assistants do. Mr. Scotto's, Ms. Audino's, Dr. Altabello's, Ms. Atwood's. And then the manager would be the person that does much of what the old managers used to do, the former managers, which is they really are going through and making sure the agenda is all set. It's in Systems 3000. They're meeting with payroll to make sure that payroll is matched up with the contract and the year's experience and the paperwork is there. So I hope that provided a little more detail to you.
Sure does. And if we had a public meeting about that, I would never ask the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on the monthly suspension report? On the monthly HIB report? Monthly health report? Okay, so at this time, we're going to move to hearing of the public on agenda items only. Okay, we have none at this time. Okay. So being that we have no one signed up for hearing of the public on agenda items, we'll close that portion and we'll move to the agenda. Dr. Ferrara, can you take us through curriculum and instruction?
Absolutely. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I move items 1 through 9.
Second.
Do we have any questions or discussion on any items in curriculum and instruction? Dr. McShane.
I'll pull up quickly the list of gifts and donations. So we'll be voting on 4 for tonight. One we talked about last month. This is just a revision to the Early Act Program donation, which is at a value of $2,000. I think we saw that there was a duplication or a typo in the amount there. So that's the amount going to Wilson. We have a donation from to West from the graduating class of 1963 and 64, I believe it is, for a couple of park benches. Oh, sorry, a $500 teakwood park bench to the West School Garden. And they sent a letter, which was kind of nice, if I can read a little bit there. It says, the Hamilton High School West graduating classes of 1963 and 64 are donating a $500 teakwood park bench to Hamilton High School West School Garden. The members of the class were touched by last year's 6 ABC story about the school garden, and they wanted to donate a bench that students could enjoy for years to come. The bench will be incorporated into a landscape design project that will be executed and completed by the students of the Hamilton High School West School Garden Club. So I think that's just a really cool opportunity for the students, and really kind of they get to practice the skills that they're developing there.
Can I point out that you moved E1 through 9, but 5 was removed, so should we really be moving? Can I make a friendly amendment to G1 through 4 and 6 through 9?
Thank you. I'll second. Thank you.
And I've got 2 more donations here. To Cuser from the Donors Choose program. So in collaboration with that, they're to the value of $840. There's a bunch of school sports items like footballs, basketballs, things like that. And then a fun one for Robinson to support their Rocket Day, which is really awesome. A $500 grant from the National Association of Rocketry, which is a cool name and a cool thing. So that's it for item 8, the gift donations.
Let me dovetail off of Dr. McShane's report and just say that thank the community again for providing funds through Donors Choose. 261 projects have been funded in the district from over 1,000 donors. 22% of the donations come from out of state. So that means that our community is supporting us at great levels, and we all really appreciate it. $117,491 has been raised since we became partners with Donors Choose. And I personally thank all of you.
Roll call. Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Kanka,
Yes.
Dr. McShane,
Yes.
Soto,
Yes.
Byrne,
Abstain number 7, yes to the rest.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Mr. Kanka, can you take us through finance and operation?
Yes, for recommendation of superintendent, I move motions 1 through 14.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments from any board members?
The roll call?
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Kanka,
Yes.
Dr. McShane,
Yes.
Soto,
Yes.
Byrne,
Yes.
Salantano,
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes. Mr. Gonzalez, can you take us through personnel items?
I would like to move personal items as recommendation by the superintendent, items 1 through 17.
Second.
Do you have any questions or comments in regards to any personnel items? I actually do have a comment. So in regards to Mr. Celentano had brought up prior within our committee meeting, the job description, the two job descriptions that are currently on the agenda. I absolutely support the additional positions in the HR department, and I do feel that they are critical, but I will be abstaining from number 15. We did have some discussion. I just feel that a possible different position would maybe be better utilized, and I would like to move forward in the future, possibly having the discussion within committee meetings, because I'm looking at the 5 to 10 to 20-year plan for the district. So just, I will be abstaining on that motion.
I just want to note that, Mr. Celentano, I thought it was fine that you asked the superintendent to explain right here in a meeting. That's why we're here, to have conversation. I don't think we need a second meeting. We just need people to speak up when they want to
No,
speak.
you're missing the point. I think when we're all together, we can all get what's on one's mind at the same time and come up with these questions. And we wouldn't need to go through this, because I hate doing it sometimes, because it sounds like, you don't trust people, and that's not the case. It's just that I need to be thorough, like anything else. Maybe other people don't care about that stuff. I do, because there's too many folks out there today. There's too many organizations out there. There's too many whatever out there willing to take you down. Not you personally, but yes, it could be one of us personally, but the school district. I don't think we need the aggravation. But again, nobody has approached that yet. And if I can be a conduit to maybe eliminate that, so be it. But I still think that it would be in the best interest of the community to do those things, because there's too many things that, again, in a couple of your comments tonight, we. It's not we. The committee is not a we, okay? The committee recommends. We do not discuss, we don't make a recommendation that this is what we want. It's what the committee wants the other two committees to look at and consider. But I would rather be in a forum where I can talk to other people about what's on your mind. Maybe I misunderstood it. Maybe you misunderstood me. Maybe maybe there's other things that we can come up with. Just like Dina just came up with a good point. I kind of agree with her. I'm looking down the road. I have no problem with an administrative position. I may have a problem with a manager's position. All right, because I think that we do have other folks in this district that probably need an awful lot of help. I would agree that maybe we need to look at personnel and look at the additional help they need there. Okay, but again, I'm saying things that you never heard me say that before until tonight.
Yeah, but you're saying it right now. So tell me what.
I know, understand.
So tell me what.
But
You have a problem with the manager's position. I'm interested before we vote.
Well, first of all, somebody could tell me what the cost of this is. Where's the money coming from? Are we adding another position to the director's group? Is that a manager's position that's going to come under the directors, but not the directors, the supervisors association? Think about that. Does it?
Most likely no.
So it's just a regular position. And
It'll be unaffiliated because it's
under the HTEA.
it would have to be unaffiliated because they have so much information that is private.
I don't think that's private, whether it's not, it's a
No,
position.
but I mean, they wouldn't be under any union because they'd be working directly with Dr. Copeland, and so much information is confidential. So they can't be in the unions.
So that's what,
It's listed as unaffiliated on the description.
unaffiliated. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So now I know that answer.
Is that on the agenda? It's listed as unaffiliated?
It's on page 3 of the description.
Again, they could have, and in that documentation, it could have put in there unaffiliated position, because we have unaffiliated, we have certificated, we have directors, we have managers, et cetera. We have all those groups.
I have a
Nice to know
question.
where it's coming from.
To Madam President. You are saying you would prefer to table 15 so we can discuss it and then come back to it, I'm confused.
I don't need to
No,
do that. I
I'm
don't
not
think I want to
asking,
do
I'm
that.
not asking for it to be tabled. I'm just letting everyone know that I support adding additional staff in human resource. I feel that we would better be served as a different position as we discussed. So I can't support the manager position. I would like to see an assistant director in that position instead.
Okay,
So I am not going to table it. If everyone is comfortable with the manager position, you can move forward. If the conversation continues that into the future, we look at at an assistant director to be able to be in that position, we can continue having that conversation, but the need is there now.
yes.
So
Yes,
I'm not going to ask for it to be tabled. But I will voice my opinion in stating that I do feel that we should be looking at an assistant director in that position as opposed to a manager.
I hear you. And speaking publicly, there is a financial difference in those two roles. So I support the manager position.
Mr. Celentano, I want to note that in the job description on the third page, it says 12-month year unaffiliated position.
Does it say that? If I missed it, I apologize.
Can I ask a question about the position? So I know, Mrs. Thornton, you're looking down the road. So in looking at that issue, this position, in the way that it's listed, looks like it's a 1-year position that gets renewed. So if, as a board member, I'm thinking about how to vote, then I think that we could change in the future to add that assistant director position if,
No.
as we go forward, and not have to worry, because this is someone who would just be renewed every year. Is that accurate?
I don't think it, I don't.
So, and I'll give you an example. So that would be accurate, but you don't want to hire someone and then if they have different qualifications, tell them that, sorry, we're changed our mind in a year. That wouldn't be fair to that individual. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that goes to my question.
Right.
So
It wouldn't
when
be fair
this
to the
person-
individual if they're not.
But based upon the description at the bottom, I just want to understand, this person wouldn't be like, okay, this is my year contract. This person would be, hey, this is my job for now, correct? It's not like it would be renewed every year.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Sort of.
And just for clarification, in addition to the difference in salary, I believe it was also discussed the difference in credentialing that would be needed. So it would.
Very different.
At the management level, we'd be able to cast a wider net during recruitment.
To ease your mind, I'm going to support this. To ease your mind. I just had to ask the question.
We
So-
have any other comments or questions?
If this were at the administrative director level, is there a concern that it would be difficult finding someone to fill that position? No? Okay. Thank you.
It's just another position in another union.
Other questions? Okay, I would like to go through our retirements this evening. We have a few. I'll start with educational assistant at Hamilton High West, 8 years, 4 months, Marjorie Ryder. School nurse, Crockett Middle School, 34 years, 4 months, Kathleen Lombardo. Head custodian, Kistart Elementary, 25 years, 4 months, Raymond Quinones. Speech and language specialist, 17 years, 4 months, Karen Mortellaro. And district HVAC technician, 11 years in Hamilton, Bruce Hummel. I want to thank you so much for your dedication to Hamilton School District. And we all wish you the best in retirement. There are any other questions? If not, we can go through roll call.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes to all with abstentions on number 3D1 and 6W1 through 3.
1 through
3.
3. Thank you. Mr. Kanka,
Yes, except for motion 3, I abstain on C1.
Dr. McSheen,
Yes.
Soto,
Yes.
Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes.
Thornton.
Yes, abstain on 15.
Motion's passed.
At this time, we will move to other business. Do any board members have any other business that they would like to discuss?
Let me think.
Nothing for under other business. So we're going to move on to hearing of the public on school-related matters. I do have 10 individuals signed up. I would like the board to consider moving public hearing to 40 minutes so that all individuals have 4 minutes apiece to be able to come up to the microphone and speak.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passes.
Okay, so we'll move to hearing of the public. I just want to remind everyone, please, all comments, please direct them to the chair, the president, myself. Comments, please stay courteous and respectful and keep to the time allotted. I will call each one of you up individually. When I do call you, please state your name and address at the microphone for the record. We'll start with Mr. John Muka.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Muka. I live at 2495 Sylvan Avenue in Hamilton. A lifelong resident of Hamilton Township. I have an MBA degree from University of Michigan. I have a PhD in education from Temple University. I'm also a candidate for the school board in this fall's election. I'll try to be brief on just 2 things, cursive writing and 5756. In my line of work in the commercial world where I spent my career, certain questions always asked: how much, how many, how often, how long does it take, and how do we know it's working? And these are all questions that should come up in any important discussion. In terms of cursive, it's a simple question of, is there a proficiency test for cursive? When does it get administered? What percentage of students do we expect to pass the proficiency test? So I'd like to know what the plan is for that. And that answers the question on whether or not we're teaching cursive. It all comes down to those simple things. 5756, you had some great conversations among yourself, I'm sure. Do you take minutes of those? Are they made public? I don't think so. Dr. Rocco talked a lot about all the opportunities for parents to participate, facilities committees and other things. 5756, a very sensitive issue for parents. And we'd like to participate in a committee to have a discussion about that. Now, for those that don't know, 5756 governs transgender, self-identified transgender students' rights in regard to parental notification, use of restrooms, and participation in sports. These are all very sensitive issues in our community. Now, just because 5756 never was a law, it doesn't go away. And the transgender students don't go away either. So I posed a simple question to Dr. Rocco: how many self-identified transgender students are there in our schools from 2016 to the present year by year? So I think we need to know a count. Back when this first became an issue in 2016, it was minimal, as far as I know, countrywide, nationwide. It's a much bigger problem now. But what are the dimensions of the problem in our school system is the critical question. Now, Dr. Rocco directed me to a Oprah request, which was declined. Since then, I've been trying to get a meeting with Dr. Rocco to talk about it further. I'm hopeful we'll get together on that. So just in closing, we're going to be at Oktoberfest. I think all the candidates will be there. So please come and spend some time with us. Let's have some discussions.
President,
We can.
So, excuse me, and I don't mean to interrupt. My apologies. And this is not just for you, Mr. Muka. This is for everyone here that comes up to the microphone to speak. This is hearing of the public on school-related matters. We are not a political entity. We do know that there is an election coming up, but we do ask to please keep any political items, or should I say school board election items, out of public comment for this time, because we are here to hear items of school-related matters. No disrespect to you or anyone else that's here in the audience. If anyone else does come up, I will be asking the same. So thank you. Please continue.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate that. As you all know, every time I come up here, I've been asking for public discussions, especially about 57 and 56. Now, I attended candidate training in school board matters, and I understand how the system works a little bit better. There are ways to have a public discussion. You can have a town hall meeting. There's certain rules you have to follow, and I know how to do that now. So I'm asking you to come together and have a public town hall meeting. Other school districts have done this on other matters. The one district that the officer was telling us about was basically, it was so successful, the school board has them every quarter now because it was a great opportunity to bring the community together. So whenever we have a chance to talk, let's have some discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Muka.
Madam President, I just have to say something real important. And, you know, I'm not one to just speak up, but like, I just heard someone say that transgender students are a problem. And that cannot be how we act and behave. And that really bothers me right now. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm sorry.
Dr. McSheen, thank you very much. We will have time afterwards to make a comment, but thank you very much. Next, we have Patty Adanizio.
Hi, Patty Adanizio, President HTEA. I just wanted to tell the board about a few good things that went on. Today, I went to Hamilton West to see their Unified Club Field Day. It was outstanding. So if they have future events, I really encourage the board, anybody here, to come out and see the Unified Club. What an awesome way for our students with and without disabilities to come together and have an all-inclusive community. I had a great time. It was fantastic. And I just wanted the public to know how awesome it was. On another positive note, in the last 2.5 weeks, I visited 8 elementary schools, and they're incredibly awesome. Like, you walk in the door and you can see instantly the love and compassion that our teachers have for their students and the assistants and the custodians in those buildings as well. Having taught middle school for 22 years, I don't live in elementary, and I promise you that they are the hardest working professionals in education. They, those are the people with no passing time in between and no time to go to the bathroom and make a phone call. And it was amazing, the things that I saw, and it's really good things are happening. Please go out and see the buildings that, that you're the liaison to, because I think you're going to be really pleased with what you see. So some really good stuff going on. There was only one thing I wanted to ask the board. We've spoken before about it, some senior staff, I know Dennis and we've spoken about it, was Colonial Life Insurance. They came out and talked to our members, and we've emailed back and forth, and I'm just asking if we could consider putting that on the November agenda. That insurance doesn't conflict with Prudential, and it comes at no cost to the board. And we have a lot of members right now that could really benefit from the services that they offer. And that's open to all staff, I mean, your administrators as well. So again, no cost to the board. Please consider putting it on the November agenda. Thanks. Have a good night.
Next, I have Lisa Linkowski.
Good evening, Lisa Linkowski. I'm a member of the HTCSE. And the talk about parental rights has been spoken extensively across the country for the past 3 years since the pandemic. For all of the relentless poking and prodding into the Hamilton Township School District public education system, health and PE standards, books on library shelves, policy 5756, whether or not our kids will be proficiently tested in cursive. It turns out that these folks do not want any intervention or regulations for homeschooling. So much for the concern for the kids. Over this weekend, I found out that in many parts of the United States, homeschooling is completely unregulated. In 26 states, parents only have to file notice once a year with officials to let them know that they are homeschooling their child. In 13 states, they only have to file notice once and have no requirement to ever check in again. In 11 states, they do not have to notify anyone at all, ever. And shockingly, New Jersey falls in this category. Parents do not have to teach their kids anything at all. While the majority of states, 29 plus the District of Columbia, they require certain subjects be taught, no states mandate or evaluate specific homeschool curricula, which enabled a neo-Nazi homeschool to flourish in Ohio. And they had up to 2,500 members up until February of 2023. Only 13 states and the District of Columbia require instructors to have qualifications like a high school diploma. 23 states and the District of Columbia have attendance requirements. Again, not New Jersey, by the way. Only two states require parents to undergo background checks before beginning homeschooling. That means that a child can be stuck at home with parents that have been convicted of domestic violence, child abuse, or neglect. There are approximately 2 million students that are currently being homeschooled at this time, but no one really knows the real number because there's a lack of regulation in 24 states. Imagine that. High-profile incidents of child abuse and death at the hands of homeschool parents have rekindled debates over increased safety regulations. One of the opponents to increased regulation is the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, the HSLDA, an advocacy group founded in 1983. They are a strong, powerful lobby that opposes any homeschooling regulations. The HSLDA emerged out of a conservative Christian movement to expand homeschooling in the 1980s and the 90s, in part due to a response to the Supreme Court decisions that fortified the separation of church and state in our schools. Homeschooling makes abuse easier since the kids have nowhere to go to find help. Teachers are tasked with being vigilant about abuse and reporting any if it is found. The fact that we have people here in this very audience that are calling out our volunteer Board of Ed members for their lack of transparency is incredible, and yet support parental rights as it relates to homeschooling with zero oversight. Let's start shedding a light on homeschooling here in New Jersey, and a bare minimum put in regulations for an annual check once a year, so at least we know that these kids still exist. Let our district get back to work on real issues and stop with all this intrusive nonsense that's holding our Board of Ed meetings hostage. Thank you.
Janice Glonick.
I don't know.
Janice Glonick, 432 Trinity Avenue, Hamilton. Okay, I'm so pleased to see that cursive has passed. Not that you don't know that I was fighting for it. Okay, at Alexandria, we have always been doing cursive. We have never stopped it. We always did it at the end of second grade and into third. And the fact that we now have the cursive writing books, the writing should come out even better. However, we still need to go further than that, as it was mentioned. We need to continue the cursive writing through the rest of the grades, especially fourth grade. Not only do these children need to be able to write their names, but they need to be able to read cursive writing and to write cursive sentences. Everyone who comes across cursive writing, everyone will come across cursive writing sometimes in their life. There's 15 states that mandate it. The Catholic schools teach it. So you are going to come across it sometime. And it would be pretty embarrassing when your mother-in-law gives you a birthday card and says, "Did you like the message I wrote?" and you can't read it. That will put her you real high on her list. So that's why we need to continue in fourth grade and not to create more work. It can just be done 2 days a week. Like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you call it challenge time, 20 minutes for the first group, 10 minutes for the second. The first Tuesday, you teacher prints a sentence on the board and the children have to write it in cursive. The teacher goes around and corrects it and then shows on the board how it should be written. On the Thursday, she writes a cursive sentence and then the kids have to print it as to what does it mean? What does it actually say? Then the second half of the year, maybe you can increase it to 2 sentences. The last test would be to give a paragraph in cursive that the children have to decipher. And the curriculum department would have to create these sentences because they need to be standard through the 17 schools. So, and also to make sure that the infrequent letters such as Q, X, Z, and V are used. I'm sure there's some kind of computer program that could come up with this stuff so that the sentences are unified. Knowing how to read and write cursive is a bigger lifetime necessity than some of the other courses that are taught throughout your high school career or your whole school career. Knowing how to dissect an animal is not half as important as learning how to do cursive writing. Or I remember in Algebra 2, bus B is doing 40 miles an hour to the west, bus A is doing 50 miles to the east. And how many hours will how far apart will they be in 4 hours? Like, who really cares? Okay. But the cursive writing is a necessity. Also, we could do practice with the spelling test. The children write cursively and print it in case their cursive's not too neat, so the teacher can still read it. And the cursive writing program definitely needs to expand towards doing these things to increase how to read it, how to write it. And then, of course, into 5th grade, the teachers can write stuff on the board in cursive, also to expand it. It's necessary to be able to read it. Cursive writing, as I always said, has its own personality. Getting a handwritten note is much more personal and meaningful than a text. I've said it over and over again that learning cursive is either an enrichment or a necessity. Either way, you can't lose by learning it. Thank you, and thank you for extending the time and doing the 4 minutes. Hallelujah.
Joanne Bruno.
Hello, Joanne Bruno, Hamilton, New Jersey. I'm from MCREA, and I'd like to thank you and to thank Janice for that lesson on teaching cursive. I'm happy to see that it's back in the curriculum, and I hope you will continue it. Also, listening to Dr. Ferrera's report on policy 5756, I believe she stated that that was based on federal and state laws, and that students have, from what I gathered, a right to privacy. And so for the former speaker who came up and required or requested that we have a number of the students who are in the category of transgender, I believe that would be a violation of their privacy and not really necessary. Also, I'm happy to see that the report was fair and supportive of the students who will be affected by what the policy covers. And again, thank you for being open-minded and compassionate to the people who that policy is going to benefit. Thank you.
Megan Stanton.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for letting me have a moment. I wanted to speak about how I'm really grateful that the CPAG meetings are back starting up October 30th. I feel like the board should be more involved. The families definitely need a liaison. These families aren't always even available to attend these kind of meetings because it's not always easy to find care when you have special needs children. One more reason why I think we need a representative speaking for the families to the board and to the board, or for the board to the families, so we can have a little bit more conversation and a little bit more clear communication for the needs to be met. We're speaking about a very vulnerable population that is often overlooked and underserved. I'm also really glad to see that we're continuing with diversity in the district. We can't afford to regress and move back to a time of, special interests and division. It's important that we continue to increase our student supports and inclusivity here in the district. We've done a really great job in the last few years, and I think it's important that we continue to support and work with every single student, regardless of race, gender, orientation, or background. I feel like we're at the point where it's clear that we're working with a different population than we ever have in history. We have more groups, whether that means our trans community, or whether that means our Jewish community, or whether that means our Black community. We're working with so many groups at this point. We're not a homogenous community, and that's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing that we're beginning to grow and that we're able to work together as a whole. But that means cutting out the hate at this point and supporting every single student for who they are in a safe location where they can get a meaningful education. So thank you all for doing your part and taking that all into consideration.
Peg Kirkhoff.
Good evening, all of you. First, I want to say that I understand that as a Board of Education member, this is volunteer. It's your own time and your own effort to put into it. And I appreciate everyone who's done that. However, I feel since I've been coming to these meetings that it just doesn't seem open enough to me. I just don't seem to see this transparency. And I think it's a little bit, from the last meeting, I saw a couple of things here that give me hope. But I just think that we need a new focus overall as the board. And I think that we also need to remember that the first focus of schools is to teach reading, math, tech, civics, science, and as we had here this evening, arts, the chorus, the dance. My granddaughter's to dance and to vocal, they call it now. We have to start not taking the role of parents. Parents have to teach their kids to be bullying. They have to teach them acceptance. And they have to teach them to be the best of themselves. That's not the job of the teachers. The teachers have enough issues to do, teaching math and writing and whatever, science. Bless their hearts. I totally agree with that. We just need to get back to the center of what the schools are supposed to be doing. I do have a question, and I know there's all these, personal things and privacy things, but what are the percentage of kids that have different issues, whatever they be? I think that if we are addressing our time and spending time on this, we should know how many kids are involved. I was going through 57, 56 today. Thought my eyes were going to fall off my head. Okay. It's made up, well, if you feel uncomfortable going to this bathroom, then you can't go to the other one. you know, but then if you go to that one, they're gonna think you're something else. I mean, let's get real. Everybody's got issues, everybody's got a problem, and we can't worry about what every teenager or any other one is gonna think about what everybody else does. We need to get back to education. They're at an age where everything is up for grabs. Some of these kids don't know who they are. Sometimes they have issues at home. We all know that. But please, I'm asking that in the next few months, we get back to teaching, respecting the problems that kids have. I don't want any bullying. I don't want anything. But education should be the first thing. When our kids come out of the schools, I want them to say that they went to Hamilton, Mercer County. That's a good school district. They get good grades. That's what I want for my kids and my grandchildren. Thank you.
Chanel Vickers Ames.
Hi, Chanel Vickers Ames of Hamiltonian, parent advocate. I just want to say this is my first meeting of the school year. And I want to say thank you for the crosswalk safety upgrade at Wilson. Thank you for hitting the deadline before the beginning of the school year. I appreciate it. It was a lot of work. And just wondering where we are with the next school, where we stand, what school is next, if we have a running list of schools that are gonna be upgraded next, what is the plan? And I don't know, I just wanted to say thank you, truthfully. That's it.
Okay, Sylvia Singalia. I hope I said that correctly.
Hello, my name is Sylvia. I'm a transgender adult and I drove here from Hunterdon County because I wish to show support for trans kids. And I want to thank the board for maintaining policy 5756. And every kid should be able to learn and be able to feel safe in their school, and the protection of the privacy, the just feeling of safety, feeling of acceptance for trans kids is really, really, really imperative for their performance and especially their mental health. So again, thank you for maintaining that policy, and I hope you continue to protect the privacy and the lives of trans kids going forward. Thank you.
Mariah Hodges.
Hello, my name is Vraya. I'm also from Hunterdon County. And I wanted to say that I am pleased to see that the board has been protecting the rights of transgender students. And I'm glad you will continue to do so by maintaining policy 5756. all over the state, including in Hunterdon, we have transgender students have been under attack. And I'm happy to see that in Hamilton, there's a school board that has their back. Thank you. And I wanted to also thank some of the board members who actually spoke in support of their rights tonight. And so, yeah, thank you and have a good evening.
So that does conclude the list on hearing of the public. At this time, I did say normally we do not have comments in regards, and I do apologize, Dr. McSheen. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was the time of hearing of the public. But if there is something that you would like to say at this time prior to adjourning the meeting, please go ahead and do so.
Yeah, and I do apologize for speaking out of turn. It just bothered me to hear the words said that transgender students are a problem. And that's just simply a mentality we cannot have in this district. And I think we've all had the discussion as a board, affirming transgender policy and the students. So I just think it's important to make sure that they know that we have their back, and it's not a problem that appeared in 2016, or transgender people have been around forever. And really our goal as a district is to see a student as they are and help them learn. That's it. And I think we've heard a few comments like that. So really that was just the main reason I wanted to speak. I didn't want to, talk over anyone's comments or anything, but it really bothered me to hear that transgender students are a problem. That was a phrase I heard, and maybe I misheard it, maybe I didn't, I don't know, but I heard that in my mind, and I just want to make sure that that's not what we're standing for here.
Okay. So, at this time, do I have a motion to, I'm sorry, Ms. Harvey.
There was another comment from the public earlier about board getting involved in the special education committee. And I just wanted to point out something that I had noted, that in our policy, it actually says that we will have as a subcommittee to the curriculum and policy committee, a special services subcommittee. So I don't know if basically perhaps CPAG came out of this subcommittee, but perhaps as the board president for next time, and hopefully before the 30th, maybe a board member could be appointed the way that we have appointments on the other committees like DCR.
So, and I can speak to that. So in regards to CPAG, I can say I am actually the liaison to the CPAG group as well. And where in the past structure of our committees, we did have a special education committee, which is now combined into the curriculum and instruction. But I can say special education does overlap all three of our committees. So I do know that we do have conversations in regards to special education at every committee if it affects the committee in regards to whether it be personnel, whether it be curriculum instruction, or whether it be facilities and operations. So, but I will be more than happy to ask for every committee to kind of take another look at, and just to make sure. But if anybody ever has any questions in regards to it, please by all means reach out to the committee chair or Ms. Audino. She is very responsive and will get back to you quickly. Thank you. Welcome. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay, motion passes.